Alright, the sun's going down here, Cali, and this is my video entry for East Coast Preppers 3,500 million subscriber contest. Congratulations, brother. That's awesome. Really enjoy your channel. You know that. Really enjoy the conversations on your blog TV show Wednesday night. A lot of fun there. Great content, and I really enjoy when you post, personal, funny stuff too, because everyone's got to have a good time every once in a while. Your contest, you had a couple of different questions. What are the 3 things that we do for our preps, and what are we prepping for? Number 1 is food. Number 1 prep, pretty self-explanatory. If something were to happen, you need a little bit of food to get you by. Food's very important to everybody, of course, unless you don't have it. People take it for granted unless they don't have it. But food's number 1 of importance here in this house, followed by water, of course. But I kind of put both of those together because food and water are a given. You need those 2 things for basic survival. On top of that, another thing we prep is our garden here. You should have some kind of basic understanding of how plants live, how they regenerate, and how they survive, because you can eat an apple and be totally content with it, but what you do with that apple after you're done eating the flesh off it is what's going to determine if you have more apples. How to make compost, how to dig your little ditches and your rows and stuff to grow, let's say, your corn, or your little water trough for your melons. In your climate zone, in your area, you should have some basic knowledge of gardening, whether you do it on your porch, or whether you do it in your backyard, or whether you do it on the side of the house, or wherever you do it, on the back 40. But you need to have some basic principle of how to do a garden, because this is how it's been done for years. This food trend and buying food for pennies and just having tons of natural resources and food that'll never go away, this is a new concept. If you look at our parents and our great grandparents, they canned, they stored stuff, they made soups, they made teas, they dried vegetables out, they saved all their seeds, and they grew whatever they could locally in their area for their climate. Well, the knowledge of farming and the knowledge of reproducing a food source from nothing or from a seed, that's another big prep here at this house, because it's very important. And we save seeds for everything. It sounds retarded, and I tell my kid, hey, don't throw that apple core out. Save those seeds for me, please. If you don't put it aside, I'll take care of it. Don't throw those seeds out. That pumpkin you're digging out, that stuff in the center there, save those seeds for us, because we want those seeds. And it's really easy to dry. You can dry anything, any kind of seed, and plant it the next season. Little basic knowledge, little storing of seeds goes a long way. And trial and error. You got to plant something, even if it's a flop. You plant it too late, too cold, too hot, too much sun, whatever. Just do it so you can get some knowledge under your belt on basic gardening and basic composting, and really trying to gain your yield as high as you can on the basic minimum of energy you put into it. So food and water, gardening practices, and the third one would probably be having a good plan. We have a plan here at this house, and pretty much it entails a whole list of things that we're going to do in case of a WROL situation. Should it's a fan, economic depression, or whatever happens to us, we should be able to get across just fine. And one thing, just give you a brief example here of one of our plans, is, let's say we have to leave the house. We got 5 minutes to split. Kids come home and we're gone. Are they going to wonder where we're at? Did we bug out? Did we go to the location 1, location 2? Where did we go? They're going to find spray painted on the wall, huge letters across the TV and everything else, the flat screen, all over the whole wall, bug out. They'll know exactly what that means. They'll know exactly where to go. If you have a code word or name for it, that's fine too, but by me writing bug out, that means nothing to anybody else. It doesn't give my location away, doesn't give my plans away, doesn't do anything, but that's one thing that we've done, is instill little plans like this, so if all communication's lost, we know exactly what to do. And you need to have a plan. That should be one of your major preps. And you need to have food and water. That should be another one, just in case you can comfortably stay at your own home. And another one is gardening techniques, because most of us can shoot guns, most of us can shoot a bow and arrow, most of us can make weapons and traps, and harvest food such as small game, which is also very important. But being able to get the seeds out of the apple you just ate, being able to get the seeds from things that might not even look like they have seeds, and dry them out, and just practice trying to grow them next season. It's pretty impressive when you can do that. And I've got a garden full of several things that we've dried out last year and just threw them in the ground to see if they'd work, and they worked out just fine. Some of it was luck, other of it was just hope that this seed wasn't a Terminator seed from Monsanto or something that we're going to put in the ground. Hopefully it'd come out, and it did. All the stuff we planted actually is coming up just great. We're a little bit late in the season. This is more one of those experimental things. We don't need to have the garden back here right now, but what happens if you have to grow the garden late in the season, or you have a small area? So we're trying different things here, and this is just a part of our plan, a part of our preps. So those are the three things that we do for our preps. And the main question you asked, ECP, was what are we prepping for? You really can't trust the government, and I don't mean that in a conspiracy theory type of way. You really can't trust anybody to take care of you, to feed you, to house you, to wipe your ass. Sorry for my French, whatever language you call that. But you have to take care of yourself. And right now there's a lot of people in America that don't take care of themselves. And those people rely on the taxpayers, like Sultan of Shinola, EastCoastPrepper's with an S, like me, Gun Wild 1, Desert Prepper 1, and they rely on us, and that's enforced through our government. What happens when the government can't enforce that? What happens when the bill collector, which is the government, can't collect that bill and dole it out to the people who may be legitimately handicapped or injured or legitimately out of work? What happens when you don't have the strong arm of the law and the United States government stealing from, collecting from their peasants? Citizens. What happens when that falls apart? That means anybody who collects money for Social Security and debt ceiling things, Sultan Shinola and EastCoastPrepper's was just talking about, the debt ceiling deal, Social Security, welfare, food stamps, all these government programs, if they take a dump overnight and you rely on this, which is not a bad thing. Most of us have been on some type of workman's compensation or disability, have been hurt, injured, retired from the military. These things happen. It's not these individuals' fault. I don't blame anybody for having hard times, hard luck. They've happened to me, they've happened to a lot of people. But when you rely on somebody to take care of you, you also give that entity or that person or that thing the power to take everything away from you. And that's something that we should all strive to be independent and all strive to do things on our own. So if our system does take a dump, we will not just survive, but we will strive. And that's it. Alright guys, thanks a lot.